Trump is set to meet New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani at the White House to talk about cost-of-living pressures and public safety in the city. The U.S. is pressing Ukraine to sign a Trump-backed peace deal with Russia by Thanksgiving or risk losing American support, raising major diplomatic tensions. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Trump's draft peace plan must deliver a real and dignified peace, as a leaked proposal suggests Ukraine would cede territory. A federal judge has ruled that Trump's months-long National Guard deployment in Washington, D.C. is unlawful and ordered it to be halted, a significant blow to his domestic security strategy. Trump has accused 6 Democratic lawmakers who urged troops to refuse illegal orders of seditious behavior, punishable by death, triggering intense backlash and fears of incitement. The White House is defending Trump after he called a female reporter piggy, escalating criticism of his attacks on the press. Large-scale immigration raids in Charlotte, North Carolina, have ignited political tensions and could shape one of next year's most competitive Senate races. Border Patrol agents are winding down operations in Charlotte after arresting more than 250 people and are preparing to redeploy to New Orleans after Thanksgiving. Federal prosecutors are moving to dismiss charges against a Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent after evidence suggested agents rammed her car during immigration raids. The Trump administration is threatening to withhold nearly $75 million from Pennsylvania over what it calls illegally issued commercial driver's licenses to immigrant truck drivers. The U.S. Senate has passed a bill reversing a Biden-era policy that restricted access to federally owned coal in northeastern Wyoming, sending the measure to Trump's desk. The Trump administration is exploring ways to make it easier to close federal offices and eliminate government programs it no longer wants, potentially affecting thousands of workers. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were not invited to former Vice President Dick Cheney's funeral in Washington, underscoring deep rifts within the Republican establishment. The administration has unveiled a plan to allow new offshore oil drilling off the coasts of California and Florida for the first time in decades, expanding U.S. fossil fuel production. One person is dead after an officer-involved shooting at St. Louis Lambert International Airport, prompting a major investigation by local and federal authorities. An Ohio police officer has been found not guilty of murder in the shooting death of Takia Young, a case that drew national attention and protests. Millions of dollars are pouring into a special election for Tennessee's 7th Congressional District, a heavily pro-Trump seat that will be filled in early December. New Hampshire's Supreme Court is hearing arguments in a disputed verdict over abuse at the state's youth detention center, a landmark case watched across the country. CIA officials are reportedly worried about a recent high-level meeting that broke long-standing rules against engaging with convicted spies. The U.S. Congress has approved the release of additional Justice Department documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, adding new pressure on federal agencies. Negotiations between the Trump administration and Harvard University are close to being finalized, according to the U.S. Secretary of Education. Federal prosecutors allege that Grammy-winning artist Pras Michel compromised U.S. interests in exchange for large foreign payments in a high-profile influence case. A 1940 self-portrait by Mexican artist Frida Kahlo has sold for about $54.7 million at auction in New York, setting a new record for her work. Representative Eric Swalwell has announced a bid for California governor, aiming to move from Congress to statewide office. The NCAA faces a deadline today to roll back a controversial rule that would allow U.S. college athletes to bet on professional sports, raising integrity concerns.